rise. Thank you very much. Please be seated. Good morning, everybody. We have some people on Zoom here too, so we'll be high. Okay, let's get on the record, please. Thank you. Okay, we are now on the record in State of Idaho versus Bryan C. Kohberger, CR 29222803. Mr. Kohberger is in the courtroom along with his attorney, Ms. Taylor. I believe also part of the team is Jay Logston and Elisa Massa, who is participating by Zoom, I believe. The state is represented by Mr. Thompson, Latah County Prosecutor's Office, or Prosecuting Attorney. Ms. Jennings is of that office too, Latah County Prosecutor's Office. Also part of that team is Ingrid Beatty and Jeff Nye, both from the Idaho Attorney General's Office. I'm John Judge. If you don't know me, I'm a Latah County District Judge, and I'll be presiding over this case. So, Mr. Kohberger, you've already heard a lot of what I'm going to tell you at your initial appearance, but I'll repeat it to you because it's important, and I want to remind you of these issues. So I'll briefly cover your rights, the charges against you, and the maximum penalties if you are found guilty or if you plead guilty. So I'm going to start with the rights. You have a constitutional right to have an attorney represent you throughout these proceedings. If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, then one is appointed at public expense. Ms. Taylor and her team have already been appointed, so that's taken care of. You have a right to a speedy and public jury trial where the state would be required to prove every element of each charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. At that trial, you would have the right to cross-examine the witnesses called against you. That means to see, hear, and question them, to call witnesses to testify for you, and if you choose to testify in your own defense. But you're not required to testify because you also have the right of silence. That right is protected under the Idaho and federal constitutions, so you can remain silent throughout these court proceedings, and that can't be held against you in any way. What you do need to remember, though, is that anything you do say, other than to your lawyers, could be used against you in a later court proceeding. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you. You also have a right to appeal any final decision of the court. In order to exercise that right, you need to file a notice of appeal within 42 days of that final decision, or that right is waived. Also, if you are not a United States citizen, any finding of guilt in this state could have adverse consequences to your legal status. Do you understand these rights?
Yes.
Any questions about the rights?
No.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Kohberger. So let's go to the indictment. Do you have a copy of the indictment in front of you?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And you see in the heading your name there. Is that your correctly spelled complete name?
Yes, it is.
Is that the correct birth date underneath your name?
Yes.
Are those the correct last four digits of your Social Security number?
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, I'm going to read you the charges on the indictment, starting with count 1, burglary. That is a felony under Idaho Code Section 18-1401, and 1403. This alleges that you, on or about November 13, 2022, in Latah County, state of Idaho, did unlawfully enter a residence located at 1122 King Road, Moscow, with the intent to commit the felony crime of murder. Count 2, murder in the first degree. That is a felony under Idaho Code Section 18-4001, 4002, 4003, and 4004. This alleges that you, on or about November 13, 2022, in Latah County, state of Idaho, did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and with malice aforethought, kill and murder Madison Mogan, a human being, by stabbing Madison Mogan from which she died. Count 3, murder in the first degree, a felony under Idaho Code Section 18-4001, 4002, 4003, and 4004. This alleges that you, on or about November 13, 2022, in Latah County, state of Idaho, did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and with malice aforethought, kill and murder Kayla Gonzalez, a human being, by stabbing Kayla Gonzalez from which she died. Count 4, murder in the first degree. That's a felony under Idaho Code Section 18-4001, 4002, 4003, and 4004. Alleging that you, on or about November 13, 2022, in Latah County, state of Idaho, did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and with malice aforethought, kill and murder Zayna Kernodal. Excuse me. This is hard. I'm sorry. Zayna Kernodal, a human being, by stabbing Zayna Kernodal from which she died. Count 5, murder in the first degree. This is a felony under Idaho Code Section 18-4001, 4002, 4003, and 4004. This alleges that you, on or about November 13, 2022, in Latah County, state of Idaho, did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and with malice aforethought, kill and murder Ethan Chapin, a human being, by stabbing Ethan Chapin from which he died. This is signed on May 16, 2023 by the presiding grand jury. So now I'm going to go to the maximum penalties of each charge, starting with count 1, burglary, minimum 1 year, up to 10 years in imprisonment, fine of up to $50,000 or both fine and imprisonment, restitution for the victim's economic losses resulting from the crime. For counts 2, 3, 4, and 5, murder in the first degree, maximum penalties, life in prison, or the death penalty. Fine of up to $50,000 for both fine and life in prison or the death penalty. Restitution for the victim's economic losses resulting from the crime. Also, additional fine of up to $5,000 to be paid directly to the victim's families. If you are found guilty or plead guilty on each charge, and the maximum sentences are imposed consecutively, that means one right after the other, you could be facing 10 years in prison, followed by 4 consecutive life sentences or death penalty, fines of up to $200,000 and $20,000 to be paid directly to the families, with any restitution resulting from the crimes. Okay. Mr. Kohberger, do you understand the charge in count 1, burglary?
Yes.
Do you understand the maximum penalty?
Yes.
Do Do you understand the charge in count 2, murder in the first degree?
Yes.
Do you understand the maximum penalty?
Yes.
Do you understand the charge in count 3, murder in the first degree?
Yes.
Do you understand the maximum penalty?
Yes.
Do you understand the charge in count 4, murder in the first degree?
Yes.
Do you understand the maximum penalty?
Yes.
Do you understand the charge in count 5, murder in
Yes.
the first degree? Do you understand the maximum penalty?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Taylor, is Mr. Kohberger prepared to plead to these charges?
Your Honor, we will be standing silent.
Okay, because Mr. Kohberger is standing silent, I'm going to enter not guilty pleas on each charge, counts 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, at this juncture, the state has 60 days to give notice of intention to seek the death penalty. And Mr. Kohberger has a constitutional and statutory right to a speedy trial. So let's start with you, Ms. Taylor, and then Mr. Thompson to discuss some schedule.
Your Honor, we'd ask the court to set this trial at the very outside of the speedy trial, right? We're not prepared to do anything but ask the court to do that today.
Okay. Count it out, and that will be November.
I have not counted it out, Your Honor, but I believe that we did out November 22nd is when the speedy will run. Maybe November 20th, something around there. So I'd ask the court to set it for an October trial date.
How long do you think it will take to try the case?
My best guess is it would take at least 4 weeks, maybe 6.
So you'd like me to set this for a 6-week trial?
At this point, I would, Your Honor.
Well, and in order to do so, I will have to get rid of some of the other jury trials I have, but this is more critical and more important. So, Mr. Thompson, what's your...
Those trial dates are workable for the state judge.
Thank you. About October 2nd, starting.
Yes, sir.
That work? Okay, for 6 weeks.
Yes, sir.
Anything else we need to address today, Ms. Taylor?
Not with regard to the trial setting, no.
Anything else?
No.
Okay, thank you. Thompson?
Nothing to say at this time now.
All right. So with that, by the way, I do want to let everybody know, if they don't already know this, that once the grand jury issued the indictment, the preliminary hearing scheduled to start on June 26th was no longer needed and was vacated. So some people are confused about that. So I thank counsel and the media and the public for your attention and respect. So we are adjourned. Thank you.